destructively treat termites. Call 367-1414 or visit sugarlandexterminating.com.
And that has been your Expert Minute, brought to you by Sugarland Exterminating.
Live from Upper Lafayette, this is ESPN 1037 KLWB Karen Crow Lafayette, KLCJ-FM Oak Grove Lake Charles 1041, a Delta Media station.
This game isn't fun. This game is a war.
It's time for the 2-minute drill.
Hurry it up, hurry it up, hurry it up!
Powered by B1 Bank. Visit b1bank.com to find a location near you.
Come on, let's go, you guys! Get in here, we gotta go fast now.
The Houston Astros came up short last night to the Los Angeles Angels in a 3-1 loss at home. Houston's lone run of the game came on a Cam Smith homer to left field in the 8th inning. Game 2 of the series will be tonight, and the Astros will go with Ethan Pecco on the mound, who will be making his major league debut. Pecco was recently called up from AAA Sugarland, where he had a 4.94 ERA through 70-plus innings of work. First pitch between LA and Houston is at 7:10 p.m. tonight, and you can listen to it on ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles. Around the AL West, the Royals beat the Athletics 4-3, the Rangers beat the Nationals 5-0, and the Brewers crushed the Mariners 22-0, which ties the record for the largest shutout in the modern baseball era and the worst loss in Mariners history. With those results, Houston still sits in first place with a 1-game lead over second-place Texas. With the news of Jordan Tyson expecting to miss a couple of months with a hamstring injury, the New Orleans Saints tried out veteran free agents Chase Claypool and Josh Reynolds yesterday afternoon. Reynolds spent last season with the Jets, where he hauled in 11 catches for 101 yards, while Claypool has not played an NFL game since 2023 with the Miami Dolphins. The New York Giants added some running back depth as they signed Najee Harris to a 1-year deal in the Big Apple. After 4 seasons in Pittsburgh, Harris spent last season in San Diego, where his time with the Chargers was cut short due to an Achilles tear that limited him to only 3 games in the Powder Blue. I'm Blake Purser, and you're listening to ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles, your home for the LSU Tigers and the Houston Astros.
The 2-minute drill has been powered by B1 Bank. Visit b1bank.com to find a location near you. Dynamic duos are nothing new to Louisiana sports fans. Breeze and Colston, Burrow and Chase. And here in Acadiana, we have our very own dynamic duo.
You're beautiful.
It's the big, bald, bearded, and beautiful one, Raymond Parch III.
I'm sexy and I know it.
And the man with the best head of hair in sports talk radio in Louisiana and Mississippi, James Meche. Here is RP3 and Meche on ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
Good day to you and yours, and welcome in to a Hump Day edition of RP3 and Meche. I am the big, bald, beautiful one, Raymond Parch III, better known as RP3, or as Mr. Bobby likes to say, 2 out of 3. I'm joined, as always, by the producer extraordinaire, the LAB award winner, the man with the best trash stash in sports media in the states of Louisiana and Mississippi, James Meche. And we are broadcasting live from the Beal and Abear studios here in Upper Lafayette. Beal and Abear, Acadiana's hometown lawyers. So much to get to on today's show. Houston Astros continue to struggling as they lose to the Halos, who've kind of owned them this year for some reason, even though the Angels are trash. Astros take it on the chin. The Saints get more injury news. Muy pardon. Working out wide receivers that haven't played in the league in 3 years. Muy pardon, as Kevin Foote says. So plenty to get to on today's show. It is Wednesday, which means it's a campus check-in edition of the show. We got 3 guests for you. 11:32, Hunt Palmer will join us from LouisianaSports.net and the Hunt Palmer Show to talk all things LSU. At 12:02, we'll be talking from KATC, Jamarcus Fitzpatrick, to talk all things Louisiana Raging Cajuns. And then at 12:32, how about Jim Gazzolo from the Pokecast podcast? He'll join us to talk all things McNeese Cowboys. So those are the 3 guests that we got lined up for you today. We also have a poll question of the day that we want to get your thoughts on, of course, because we love to interact with you, and you can go vote on our poll question of the day and make sure to leave your comments as well as on Facebook, X, and on our YouTube channel, ESPN Southwest Louisiana. But before we get started, how about a good day to you, Mr. Meche? How are you?
Happy Wednesday, Raymond. It's hump day.
You're thrilled about all the news coming out about your New Orleans Saints.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's great. I mean, what could be better?
The voodoo working overtime on them Saints right now during training camp. And let's go ahead and get things started on a Wednesday. It's time for today's specials.
The fellas can't help with your lunch plans, but they can serve up the top stories of the day in bite-sized pieces. Time to order up today's specials here on RP3 and Meche. Order up.
The special for today is about the New Orleans Saints. There's a lot to cover here. And a lot occurred yesterday during training camp as they held joint practices with the Dallas Cowboys out there in Irvine, California. We'll start with the bad, and that is Alvin Kamara has suffered an MCL injury. Going to be out at least 1 month. You brought him back. He wanted to come back. You were going to have the 1-2 combination at running back with Travis Etienne and Alvin Kamara. Well, you're not going to have that now. So during training camp, the New Orleans Saints have lost a starter and key rotational piece in the front seven in Brian Brzee, who's coming off a career year. They have also lost their number 9 overall pick from this year, who is going to be wide receiver 1B in Jordan Tyson out of Arizona State. He's going to be gone at least 2 months. Probably get him back maybe for the game against the Steelers in France. And now you have lost Alvin Kamara for at least a month. That's the report. At least a month.
Yeah, so at that point, you're putting yourself at September 18th, September 19th, which is after week 1.
I wouldn't expect to see him until week 4. When they phrase at least a month, that's them letting you know that the injury is probably a little bit worse than they're letting on, but they don't want to come out and say that. And that tells me that Kamara is probably going to start the season on the PUP list, which means he's going to miss the first 4 games.
Well, if that's the case, if he's not back until week 5, like you presume, that would be October 11th versus the Vikings at home.
Yep.
On October 11th.
So 3 significant injuries. You lost. Well, I'm sorry. I even forgot. My apologies. I have done you a disservice. Brian Brzee, out for the year.
Yeah.
One of your starting guards from last year, that was going to be your number 6 man, your rotational flex offensive lineman, out for the year.
Dylan Ravens.
Cam Jordan dealing with a lingering hamstring injury. At his age, that's not good. You lost your first-round draft pick for 2 months in Jordan Tyson, and now you've lost Alvin Kamara for at least a month, probably longer. The regular season can't get here soon enough for the black and gold. That's a lot of injuries to key components. You're talking about a starting defensive lineman. And when it happened at the time, we're like, look, they can absorb this because they have some depth. Then your guy was going to be your utility lineman, right? The old Will Clapp role. Then you lose him for the year, and you're like, well, you have some depth across the offensive line. Well, then you lose Jordan Tyson. And you're like, well, it's an opportunity for some of those younger guys to get a chance, like Bub Means and Barry and Brown, to prove that they belong. And now you've lost Kamara for at least a month. Now it's an opportunity for a healthy running back room. Oh, hold up. Wait. My bad. It's not. Kendre Miller, injured. Devin Neal hasn't been 100% either. Estime got banged up in the last preseason game against the Jaguars. So now all of a sudden, running back depth may be giving you a slight panic attack. Lots of injuries to key guys, James. I'm not saying they can't overcome it, but that schedule is not necessarily a cakewalk early in the season either.
No, and just to review it, it's 2 road games to start. To begin, it'll be
at Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, then at Baltimore.
Yep.
Cat. They have to go at Detroit, at Baltimore.
Then you've got versus the Raiders at home, your home opener, on September 27th. And then you've got the home game versus the Falcons, the Dirty Birds, when you have the reunion.
The Dome anniversary.
Yeah.
The Dome coming game, anniversary game. You added depth to the wide. You didn't really need a wide receiver in the draft, but you drafted one based on potential, and you wanted to add to your wide receiving room. He's injured. You bring back 2 faces of the franchise because they're fan favorites, and they can still be productive players even at an advanced age at both of their positions, and Cam Jordan and Alvin Kamara. They're both injured. Brian Brzee is one of your young defensive linemen that had a career year last year in a contract year. Now he's gone. Your versatile offensive lineman that you were going to like. That's a lot, Cat. We're talking multiple positions here.
Well, also don't forget that Jalen Polk also had retired. Had a beginning of camp.
Not optimal is the phrase I like to use. Not optimal. And I can understand why Saints fans may be a little nervous right now.
Yeah. And then not only that, but then you add on the 20 conjillion fights that they had in yesterday's practice.
It was 10. To be fair, it was 10.
I heard about 30 different numbers, whether it was 6, 8, 10, 14.
It was reported on 10 and reported by people that we trust that were actually out there at camp. So I'm gonna trust them more than a lot of the stuff on social media.
Yeah, I'm just saying it was interesting that we got a lot of conflicting reports on it.
So the joint practice session between the Cowboys and the Saints resulted in multiple brawls. We had at least 10 fights break out during the practice sessions. Punches were thrown. Helmets were tossed. Made you think of Kyle Turley. You don't remember Kyle Turley. But Kyle Turley helmet toss is one of the more infamous moments in Saints history.
Suplexes were given out.
Brock Rechsteiner, who is the cousin of Braun Breaker, current WWE superstar, and the son of, I want to say his dad is Big Papa Pump of the Steiner brothers. Hall of Famer, by the way, WWE Hall of Famer Scott Steiner.
It is.
Someone decided to put their hands on him, threw a punch at him, a Dallas Cowboys player. Kayleen Carson punched Rick Steiner and then yanked around by the face mask as teammates poured in. And then the young man who has a future in the WWE body slammed him to the turf. It was a clean takedown, by the way, if you're using wrestling terms, which I'm a big wrestling guy. So that was awesome. These things always kind of happen. Now, was the amount of fights excessive yesterday? Yes. 10 seems like a big number. But when you speak with former players, they will tell you this all the time. Joint practices are always chippy. You go from practicing against your teammate, and if your teammate gets out of line, we've seen dust-ups in training camp, right, involving the Saints. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson got in a few back in the day. So did Mike Thomas. So this is not uncommon. Things get heated. This is a competitive sport. This is a gladiator sport. So, it is lots of amped up dudes out there in the heat, in the humidity, battling it out. Why it becomes so chippy with joint practices is because you'll tolerate a guy maybe getting sideways with a teammate if y'all are on the same team, right? When it crosses the line, when someone decides to run off at the mouth, when someone decides to put hands on you, then it's going to be an all-out war because that's not your brother. Your brother wears your jersey. Your brother is the guy that you stay with, that you're on the road trips with, that you're on the flights with, right? So when a Dallas Cowboy player wants to put his hands on somebody and wants to throw punches, it's instinctively going to light a fuse.
Yeah. And we don't know who exactly started it. You'd have to basically be out there to know.
Well, Carson did throw the punch in that particular thing.
Right, but what I'm saying is even kind of going back to maybe the beginning of practice, whether it was something that was said in between plays. Like, well, I'm wondering what sparked it very much to begin with. And I know there were some comments about the Saints not wearing the right uniforms during the practice, but then Justin Reed had tweeted about it afterwards and said, well, we came out in our white uniforms like we were supposed to, but then so did the Cowboys. So to resolve it, we just ended up going to our black uniforms and black jerseys. And then there was an issue, the fact that they didn't actually have any black jersey on hand, so the equipment team had to go find some as well. So that's why you saw like Carl Granderson, I think, wear number 16 and Kool-Aid wear 0.
Eric McCoy,
he was throwing punches.
Well, he's the one that tossed the helmet in one of the brawls. His own helmet was lost before he and Cowboys outside linebacker, I'm going to butcher this last name, Donovan Izaruko?
Yeah, I remember him being drafted like 2 years ago in the second round.
They threw punches. By the way, the Cowboys linebacker was thrown out of practice afterward for the second time this offseason, by the way. He threw a punch earlier in training camp and was sent to the locker room. So, hey, he's got a little bit of that fire in the belly.
Yeah.
But when you talk about it, Saints linebacker Pete Werner said they expected it to be a little chippy. Saints quarterback Tyler Suggs said they felt the juice. Quote, I was going out there talking crap to the guys, talking a bunch. We were out there competing every single down. That's what we want. But we also have to manage the ebbs and flows of the game, too, and it felt that way. And I think we were able to really get some good work in today. That was Shuck afterwards, by the way. Cowboys safety Jalen Thompson said, we came kind of close to crossing that line. I think both sides did. That's just the competitiveness of the sport and guys working hard. So you got multiple guys that are like, this is not a big deal. And Schottenheimer and Kellen Moore, the two head coaches, talked about maybe ending practice, and they decided not to, despite the multiple dust-ups.
Yeah, but I would expect going into today's practice that I would expect infinitely less fights, if any. I think just with the law of averages, especially with how calculated these coaches are, I would expect them to be like, let's get together and let's try to prevent any more of these scuff-ups. It was good to see, but we don't need too many of them trying to ruin the progress that both of our teams are trying to make.
And also, the Rams are going to host the Saints for a joint practice tomorrow. So that's going to be interesting as well. We'll see what happens there. But chippiness is chippiness. But that is where our poll question is going to be. And we'll unveil that after this timeout. You're listening to RP3 and Mesh.
This is RP3 and Mesh live on ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
Hello, everyone. This is Jeff Palermo. Join us on Tuesday nights for Tiger Rag Radio. Myself, Todd Horn, and Glenn Gilbo give you the latest happenings in Tiger Town and across the SEC. We talk to coaches, analysts, and those in the know when it comes to the Tigers and the Southeastern Conference. We cover all the sports: football, baseball, basketball, softball, and gymnastics. That's Tuesday nights right here on ESPN 1037 in Lafayette and 1041 in Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
The best businesses aren't just businesses, they're neighbors. Here's a message from a proud certified South Louisiana business.
Brobridge Truck Stop Casino. They have the newest games around. Hot seat drawings and monthly specials like no one else. Located on the Brobridge Highway and on the banks of the Vermilion River. Come out today and try your luck at the Brobridge Truck Stop Casino.
When you support local businesses, you strengthen the communities we call home. Shop local, support local, certified South Louisiana.
Did you know you can get great tasting Clear Springs artesian water delivered to your office or your doorstep at home? Clear Springs is 100% local with their own bottling facility at the world-famous Kentwood Aquifer, no chemicals added. Just pure Kentwood, Louisiana artesian water. Clear Springs Water offers delivery of 5 or 3 gallon water service with a hot and cold temperature water cooler or even single-serve bottles delivered to your home or office. Easy to reach, clearsprings.net, then contact us tab or 337-519-3563.
Looking for your next firearm? Come visit Louisiana Gun Shop in Broussard. We've got financing options, 12 months same as cash, plus layaways up to 90 days. With a wide selection of new and used guns, we've got something for every budget, big or small. Have an old gun collecting dust? Trade it in or turn it into cash. Need parts? We've got the largest selection of AR-15 components in the area, from springs to grips and buttstocks. Explore our ever-changing used inventory online at LouisianaGunShop.com. Louisiana Gun Shop, your one-stop shop for firearms and more.
Ready to transform your backyard into the summer paradise you've always dreamed of? With Duplessis Builders custom gunite pool packages, we make it simple to own a stunning, long-lasting, in-ground pool built just for you. Choose from classic designs, all customizable to fit your space, style, and budget. Our pools come with quality finishes, energy-efficient equipment, beautiful lighting, and professional installation from excavation to decking so you can dive in before the next heat wave hits. Don't just dream it, build it. Visit DuplessisBuilders.net.
I move mountains for a living. Literally. That means I don't carry hand lotion, and when it comes to serious heartburn, I don't mess around with anything but Rolaids Max Strength. Its dual-active formula has 1,500 milligrams of calcium carbonate and magnesium hydroxide that relieves heartburn fast. And the best part? The roll fits right here in my pocket, so I can get back to moving mountains.
Rolaids spells powerful relief. 1,500 milligrams is our highest amount of antacid per tablet. Read each label. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
One enjoys eating hot dogs and watching baseball. The other loves eating sushi and playing yogurt U-card games. Not sure exactly what that is, but good for him, I guess. Anyway, back to more RP3 and Meche.
Yeah, man, we were competing. We were competing the whole time. We were getting after it. You know, I think that you felt the juice. You know, I was going out there, talking crap to the guys, talking a bunch. We were out there competing every single down, and that's what we want. You know, but we also have to manage the ebbs and flows of the game too, and that, you know, it felt that way. And I think we were able to really get some good work in.
Call. The Shuckinator said, "Hey, man, we were feeling the juice. It was good out there."
Well, to be fair, even getting away from the 10 million fights that happened, you still saw a lot of good stuff from the Saints offense, even without guys like Jordan Tyson and Alvin Kamara and others. Like, you saw a couple of good runs by Achane. You had a couple of red zone touchdowns from Shuck to Noah Fant and Chris Olave, which Chris Olave on the slant route beat rookie Caleb Downs. So that's something to kind of put your eyes on.
And reports are that he bodied Caleb Downs all day.
Yeah. So, like, you got a lot of positives. Now, you did also hear a couple of updates about from the Cowboys side that the offense was kind of beating up on the Saints defense a little bit. But, I mean, I'm expecting the Cowboys to have a really good year. So, you getting that kind of good work and kind of getting beat up in a little bit like that, it's like, all right, well, let's learn from that, especially from these joint practices going, especially tomorrow when you have to go against the Rams as well, which should be a Super Bowl favorite.
Should be. Now, Kellen Moore and Brian Schottenheimer, the two head coaches, were asked about the chippiness after practice concluded yesterday, and this is what the Saints head coach had to say.
You know, good work, obviously. You guys saw how all the chippiness of it. Not the ideal flow of a joint practice, but we got the work that we need, and we'll have one more on Thursday with the Rams, and we've had a number of them with those guys. So, you know, it's always been good work.
Did you ever get close to maybe calling it? Like, it's popping off there pretty
I mean, Shotty and I communicate. You know, we obviously know each other from working together in the past. So, obviously, we communicate through that. I think the guys got a little more settled in towards the end. I felt like the 2 red zone periods were just clean work, you know, towards the end.
So there you go. There's a head coach that wasn't concerned about the chippiness. Like, you pay attention to the tone. I know he sounds like, you know, wet paper. I get all that. But didn't seem to be concerned. And, like, him and Brian worked together. And this is what Kellen Moore's former colleague and fellow head coach Brian Schottenheimer had to say.
A little chippy, not the way we like to do business. Got to be better, but I got to look at the film. We're certainly not going to take, from anybody. But again, it was chippy on both sides, and like I said, I want our guys to play on the edge without going over the edge. One guy sounds like he might have thrown a punch, and that's why he left practice.
Going to tell you something. Coaches like when their team is chippy. They just do.
They love it.
Like, they may not go out there and say, but they love when their team is out there and has got fight in them. Once again, this is a gladiator sport, right? We're not talking about deacons at the church, okay? We're not talking about tennis players. We're talking about
or golfers.
We're talking about absolute dogs that are out there that play a sport that gives you life-altering injuries that you will carry like a badge of honor for the rest of your life, okay? So when I say, like, as long as the things don't get out of hand, and we look at it and we're like, oh, and if you watch national sports media this morning on television, oh, it's a melee, it's mayhem, it's blah, blah, blah. Did those coaches sound like they were concerned to you?
Not really.
No. So, like, the players said, hey, it just is what it is. It's not a big deal. The coaches didn't seem to be all that concerned either. It's part of football, man. Like, if you're going to have joint practices, things are going to escalate and you're going to have fights. You're going to have fights. Every football team I've ever covered has had fights within itself. That's part of the game. And that does lead us to our poll question of the day.
Oh, absolutely. And we asked you on Facebook and X, how do you feel about fights during NFL preseason games and practices and whatnot? Do you love the intensity? Do you think, it's just part of football, dude. It's no big deal. Maybe you think it needs to stop. Violence is not the answer. Or do you think it depends on the situation? Well, funny enough, I was looking at the Facebook comments. Salty Steve, there's no salt in this one. It's all sugar. He put about 10 quintillion red hearts to show how much he loves fights during joint practices and preseason games. Looking at the actual voting itself, though, it's pretty even. 33.33% are saying that it's just a part of football, no big deal. 28% are even saying that they love the intensity. 22% have said that it needs to stop. Angry emoji. 17% that say that it just depends, man. It's a case-by-case scenario.
I have no problem with it. I voted just part of football. As long as it doesn't escalate to someone like breaking their hand from punching a helmet, which is always one of the funnier things to me.
Yeah, you start scrapping,
start scrapping, and they're like, "Hey, I'm going to punch you in your helmet." All right, dum-dum. Yeah, like, you know that.
Like, I know the instincts came out, but it was like, come on.
At least let him take off his helmet or rip his helmet off or whatever.
Yeah, like do whatever first, and then when he's exposed, go for it.
It doesn't bother me. I said it's just part of football. As long as it doesn't go like, last Boy Scout out there, and then people start, perishing on the field, I think you're going to be okay. It's just part of the game. I remember when I played football, we got into fights during camp as well, and coaches separated it. But I guarantee you, our coaches were like, "Yeah, he's got some fire in him, right?
You got a backbone."
A head coach and assistant coaches of football teams do not want to have passive individuals playing football. That's the reality. It's a contact sport. It's an aggressive sport. So you want aggressive gentlemen out there that are willing to, go out there and push it to the limit. Keep voting on the poll question of the day. Keep leaving your comments on Facebook, X, and on our YouTube channel, ESPN Southwest Louisiana. Got to take a timeout. When we come back, our first of 3 guests today on this campus check-in edition of RP3 and Meche, Hunt Palmer from LouisianaSports.net joins us to talk LSU. That's next.
This is RP3 and Meche live on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
This game isn't fun. This game is a war.
It's time for the 2-minute drill.
Hurry it up, hurry it up, hurry it
powered by B1 Bank. Visit B1Bank.com to find a location near you.
Come on, let's go, you guys. Get in here, we gotta go fast now.
The Houston Astros came up short last night to the Los Angeles Angels in a 3-1 loss at home. Houston's lone run of the game came on a Cam Smith homer to left field in the 8th inning. Game 2 of the series will be tonight, and the Astros will go with Ethan Pecco on the mound, who will be making his Major League debut. Pecco was recently called up from AAA Sugarland, where he had a 4.94 ERA through 70-plus innings of work. First pitch between LA and Houston is at 7:10 p.m. tonight, and you can listen to it on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles. Around the AL West, the Royals beat the Athletics 4-3, the Rangers beat the Nationals 5-0, and the Brewers crushed the Mariners 22-0, which ties the record for the largest shutout in the modern baseball era and the worst loss in Mariners history. With those results, Houston still sits in first place with a 1-game lead over second-place Texas. With the news of Jordan Tyson expecting to miss a couple of months with a hamstring injury, the New Orleans Saints tried out veteran free agents Chase Claypool and Josh Reynolds yesterday afternoon. Reynolds spent last season with the Jets, where he hauled in 11 catches for 101 yards, while Claypool has not played an NFL game since 2023 with the Miami Dolphins. The New York Giants added some running back depth as they signed Najee Harris to a 1-year deal in the Big Apple. After 4 seasons in Pittsburgh, Harris spent last season in San Diego, where his time with the Chargers was cut short due to an Achilles tear that limited him to only 3 games in the Powder Blue. I'm Blake Purser, and you're listening to ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, your home for the LSU Tigers and the Houston Astros.
The 2-minute drill has been powered by B1 Bank. Visit B1Bank.com to find a location near you. Do you need more of the fellas here on Southwest Louisiana's sports station? Of course you do. So go make sure and subscribe to ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles YouTube channel at ESPN_SWLA. Don't forget to turn that bell on so you get notifications for new episodes of 4 Tire Change Podcast, where Dawson Iserloh talks all things NASCAR, or Cleats and Sneaks with James Meche. Get yourself more of Southwest Louisiana's sports station at ESPN_SWLA on YouTube.
Before hitting the road, get hooked up at Match Trailers on Bertrand Drive. Everything you need from truck equipment, accessories, and trailer parts, Match Trailers has it. Match Trailers, 1849 Bertrand Drive in Lafayette, or give Matt a call at 235-7534.
Do you know how many tax resolution firms have been forced to close because they were taking advantage of people or have gone out of business? It happens all the time. Hi, this is Kerry Bryson with the Bryson Law Firm. As a matter of fact, they're national tax relief companies that are currently under court orders to cease operations. So if you have IRS issues, do not fall for the threats and scare tactics of the national so-called tax relief companies. The Bryson Law Firm has been doing this for decades. We have a AAA BBB rating, and our entire focus is IRS problems and tax liability issues. An IRS problem is a legal problem. Let the Bryson Law Firm help you get relief the right way. So if you owe back taxes or haven't filed returns in years, it's time to call the Bryson Law Firm and finally resolve your tax issues. Don't put it off any longer. Call the Bryson Law Firm. Our headquarters are in Lafayette, and we have offices statewide. Or visit BrysonLawFirm.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm, the Bryson Law Firm, LSB filing number LA251964.
Delta Home Center and Delta Trailer Sales, your one-stop shop for utility and cargo trailers, heavy-duty dump and gooseneck trailers, portable buildings, cabins, decks, porches, fences, carports, and site-built metal shops. Located at Exit 7 in Carencro or at deltatrailersales.com.
Time to toast. Gulf Brew is back. Join the Gulf South's largest craft beer festival Saturday, September 19th from 3 until 7 in downtown Lafayette. Sample more than 200 craft beers. Enjoy live music, great local food vendors, and the unmatched atmosphere of downtown. Plus, designated driver tickets are available with mocktails and non-alcoholic brews. Grab your friends and make plans now. Get your tickets today at downtownlafayette.org. We'll see you at Gulf Brew.
Attention first responders, police officers, firefighters, military and former military personnel. If you have an acre or more of grass to cut, Skag Zero-Turn Mowers would like to thank you by offering you a special discount with their Simply the Brave First Responders program. Save big money on the industry's top-rated zero-turn mower at Nolan's Lawnmower in Carencro. Nolan's can offer well-qualified buyers 0% financing for 48 months. Come by Nolan's Lawnmower at 3547 northwest of Evangeline Thruway and check out the full line of Skag Zero-Turn Lawnmowers.
Here we go. Let's head around the state we call the Boot to find out what's happening at the collegiate athletic programs in Louisiana. This is Campus Check-In. Today, we check in with the LSU Tigers.
And we do so with the host of the Hunt Palmer Show and the LSU beat reporter columnist for LouisianaSports.net. Hunt Palmer joins us now. Hunt, good day to you, brother. We're getting closer and closer to the start of actual football.
Yeah, I had a really, really rough realization back on Saturday of this past weekend. I thought I was going for a little getaway with the wife this coming weekend, and then the Clemson game was the next weekend. That's wrong. There's another week in there that I did not account for mentally, and when I figured that out, it was really tough 45 seconds there.
Yeah, we all been there, bud. It creeps up on you. The weird thing is that we're waiting. We're clamoring for the start of the season, right? We obsess about it. We go through talking season and so forth and so forth. And then all of a sudden one day we go, oh hell, it's here. Like, it just creeps up on us every single year. It's ridiculous.
I'm confident the 3 months of September, October, November will go by faster than the 3 weeks that just started on Monday waiting to that first game. The football season flies. August does not.
That is correct. You're not wrong. I want to get into a few things with you here, sir. And first and foremost, I've said this for years. I think preseason polls are silly. You really don't know who's good until about a month into the season. Like, we anticipate Ohio State and Oregon to be really good. We think LSU is going to be really good. We think Ole Miss is probably going to be pretty good. And Texas, right? But we really don't know. And every year, about half of the preseason top 25 ends the season unranked. Last year, number 2, Penn State finished unranked and fired their coach. Clemson was ranked in the top 5, and they had an awful season and finished unranked. Indiana was ranked 20th in the preseason poll and won the national title. So it's all kind of silly. So give me your take on preseason polls and where LSU is at.
I think they're harmless. Now, you'll hear folks that don't coach at Georgia and Ohio State and Oregon who think that they are harmful because they create preconceived notions and make it harder for teams to make the climb up from where they were. And I don't have time for all that. I think it's fine for us to kick things around, and ultimately they'll get decided on the field. Our job is to create discussion, have disagreements, have agreements, make points, argue topics. That's what comes with the business. I don't think we're doing any harm at all. The players don't care. I think that baseball is a little bit more aware of it because there are so few teams that care about college baseball, and that LSU will know if they're ranked preseason 2 or 3, which they are almost every single year. The football players half the time don't even know. They're in their own world over there, and they're worried about getting ready to play Clemson. So I don't have a strong take on it other than to say if you have a super strong take on it, you're just not seeing eye to eye with me.
It's a fair point. I want to talk about this team's defense because I think it's going to be its strength. I don't think we're talking enough about it. And I want to start up front with the defensive line. I know they're young. I know they have a lot of inexperience, but those are a lot of talented young men that are going to be playing across that defensive line. Give me your thoughts about how Baker's going to utilize those young bucks up front.
Makes me nervous. I just don't know a lot of championship-level teams that tried a couple freshmen out there at defensive tackle. Now, as I've said many times, they could just be precocious young dudes that are ready to play. Those do exist. Dylan Stewart at South Carolina 2 years ago was just a dominant force on the defensive line as a true freshman. We have seen true freshmen come into LSU and make an impact. Will Campbell was certainly ready to play. So I can't rule it out, but I can say it makes me nervous. Now, the thing that I try to rest on here is that, Malik Blockton started for Auburn last year, and Dominic McKinley started for LSU at points last year, and Stephylan Green started for Clemson last year. And those weren't great teams, but they did log a lot of experience in the SEC and ACC, and it appears that Richard Anderson and Deuce Sherrills have kind of beaten those guys out for the first reps. Now, we know that defensive lines do rotate, So that's not to suggest that they're going to play every snap. That's not how it works at that position. But it makes me nervous to see two true freshmen at defensive tackle. If you tell me you got a true freshman playing running back, okay. You tell me you got a true freshman playing wide receiver, that's probably fine. You got a true freshman that wants to go out there and cover the third wide receiver at corner. LSU's had plenty of guys do that. They're talented enough. Defensive tackle is a little bit different beast. I don't want quarterbacks and defensive tackles playing as true freshmen if you can avoid it. And LSU's not going to avoid it this year. They're going to have Deuce Gerald and Richard Anderson right there in the middle of things, and it does give me a little bit of apprehension. We'll see.
On paper, it appears that LSU may have the best linebacking core, or at least the best three starters in the SEC and maybe in the country. How confident are you in what those linebackers are going to be able to do under Coach Baker?
Very, very high floor. Very high floor. I mean, this past year, TJ Daugherty, they played extra games. They got to the SEC. They got to the semifinal, but he led the SEC in tackles, and Devon Keys was second. And those two guys will be out there. And Whitweeks was hurt last year, but the year before that, he was second in the SEC in tackles. So your three starting linebackers are guys that have at some point ranked in the top two in the SEC in tackles over the last two seasons. So your floor is very, very high. I don't know if any of those three guys are going to be first-round draft picks or top 40 draft picks. Whit could be. But Pro Football Focus didn't love TJ Daugherty last year, didn't love Devon Keys last year. They racked up a lot of numbers. And I know that Ole Miss made every single possible effort, as we know in court, to make sure they kept Prince William Miel and to make sure they kept Devin Harper. They didn't make the same effort with Winnie Watkins or TJ Daugherty. So that's not to dismiss those guys as players at all, because I think they're both going to be impactful on this team. But I think when I analyze LSU's linebacking core, I go with high floor here. You got guys who know where to be. You got guys who have done it at this level. You don't have, Devin White here. You don't have Kevin Mender here, but you've got some guys that are very quality players that should be solid.
Let's go on the back end. You got DJ Pickett showing out in the limited time that we get to see at practice, and he's probably wearing number 5, and he just doesn't care. And I really don't blame him, because it's all silliness with all that. But he's not the only talented guy on the back end. How is the defensive back group, the corners and the safeties? What are we looking at as starters for that Clemson game? And what's your confidence level in that group maybe being the best position group on the defense?
And this group looks really good. Really good. DJ Pickett is kind of blossoming into a star. He's put on a little bit of weight. He's still skinny, but he's 6'5". You're not going to be 6'5", 225. That's not really in the cards at corner. But he's got great ball skills. He's got incredibly long arms. He can jump with and even better than some receivers. So he's going to be a star. And PJ Woodland doesn't have the measurables, but he's played for 2 years. He's tough as nails and is a very, very quality number 2 SEC corner. He was the number 2 corner last year and did a really good job in that role. I think Ty Benefield is going to be an All-American this year. I think he's going to be a second-round pick in the draft. I think he's going to be everything A.J. Halsey was and maybe even a little bit better. I think he's going to be great. And then Deshaun Spears kind of moves into that role at the star where Harold Perkins was last year. And he was really good when given the opportunity last year. He just didn't play a lot, had those 2 picks against Florida. But he's a good player. Marcus Cooley is a very high floor guy that's played a lot of snaps. He started at NC State and now is a year starting in the SEC. So I love this group in its first 5. Beyond that, I'm a little concerned. If you stay healthy, you're going to be really good. Jakeem Jackson is the next corner up. He's been with Corey Raymond for 4 years now, so that's a solid third corner. I think Aiden Manning was going to fight for that job before he blew his Achilles out. But beyond Jakeem Jackson, you don't really have anything else at corner, and that's only your third corner. So you're only 3 corners deep, and then you've got Haven Finney, who's a true freshman who reclassified, or Michael Turner, who has been in the program 2 years but is still like 6 feet tall and 155 pounds. Like, he just doesn't weigh anything. So the depth is a bit of a concern, but the talent is not.
Well, we continue our campus check-in looking at those LSU Tigers with the host of the Hunt Palmer Show and contributor for LouisianaSports.net. It's our guy, Hunt Palmer. Hunt, I do want to ask you about Lane a little bit, because I was listening back to his press conference back on Monday, and he kind of gave a different type of insight than maybe I would have usually expected with normal coach speak, whether he talks about the motivation of NIL nowadays, actually kind of making players maybe take this more seriously than before, or even his actual concern and really showing it in this young defensive line, or even talking about just giving us extra insight on how he determines what it looks like and what he's looking for of if a team is making progress or not. But what were some of your big takeaways from what he had to say back on Monday?
Yeah, I mean, and to the NIL point, we hear this all the time in professional sports. It's your money year. You got a guy in a money year. In a money year, you're always the guy right before he becomes a free agent. That's your money year you use to negotiate. Well, every college athlete's in his money year because you're renegotiating every year. So yeah, to that point, absolutely, there's something to be said for that. I've found a few things that he's talked about this preseason to be interesting. Maybe the most was not Monday, but it was last week when he was talking about getting a lot of transfers on offense to gel and learn the offense. And he said, well, what actually happened is when we were at Florida Atlantic, we hired Kendall Briles to come in and put in the tempo, put in the fast-paced stuff. And to do that, we had to cut the terminology down so that we could get it communicated quickly to get the ball snapped again. So you had to take your offensive communication and simplify things a ton. And then you fast forward a few years and you get into this portal situation where you've got to bring in a whole bunch of new guys. Well, you've already got your system really condensed down in terms of the terminology. It's easier to learn. They were trying to make it easier to learn so they could go fast. Now it's easier to learn when you bring in 8 new starters or whatever you're going to do every single year. And so he feels like that's part of the reason why at Ole Miss, when you were bringing these 2 transferred classes, or in Trinidad Chambliss' case, he comes in the summer with no spring football and picks up the offense, because what they were trying to do fast at Florida Atlantic, almost a decade later, now you're being able to implement things more quickly because it's a simpler communication method. I thought that was an interesting thing, and he studies a lot of stuff. He really is. He's a different cat when you get him in a one-on-one setting or in a press conference setting, but he is almost a savant in terms of football, and he's always thinking about what the next thing is, and that was an interesting, I thought, insight into how you get a bunch of new players assimilated into a system.
Now, one thing that he doesn't really want to have to study anymore is this Jaden Daniels drama with LSU. I found this to be utterly ridiculous. The fact that it's even blown up as much as it has, and of course has garnered the type of online response that it has on specifically X than anything else. I'd love to hear your thoughts on everything that's gone down with Jaden Daniels, LSU, and his mom.
I just think Jaden's gotten bad advice and has acted immaturely here. I think if you just say this part out loud, when you determine that DJ Pickett has tattooed number 5 on his arm since high school and has negotiated with the coach that he wants to wear number 5 and it's not retired and he's going to wear it, once you realize that that's going to happen, it's just a matter of how Jaden reacts to it. His preferred outcome obviously would be that 5 is not worn. But if you take that possible outcome out and determine it is going to be worn, now you have 2 paths. The first path would be, well, I don't like that, but I'm not there anymore. This kid will wear it. I'll worry about playing quarterback for the Commanders, and then I'll have my day in Tiger Stadium where they retire my number like they did for Billy Cannon, like they will for Joe Burrow, like they will for Jaden Daniels. Thanks. Don't really love it, but I'll play quarterback, and then I'll come back and retire. Like, that's one path. The other path is, well, I hate this, and I'm just going to burn everything down with it. I'm going to send you a cease and desist, take my pictures off the wall, take the awards out of the trophy cases, don't show my highlights on the pregame video. I'm going to separate myself completely from the university, and I'll show you ticked me off with this, and now you don't have me anywhere on the walls. Like, is that a win? That's not a win for you, to just separate yourself from a place where you had such amazing performances and are set to be honored in such an amazing way when that day comes. It's very short-sighted. It's very disappointing. And my last piece on it is, if the really nuts and bolts of this thing are that he doesn't feel like he's getting treated like Joe Burrow, he's just wrong. He's wrong. He's incorrect. I have been at this school watching things for 25 years, and great players come and go, and then the next year their uniform is worn. Paul Skeens left, and Ryan Kucherack wore 20 a couple of years ago. Like, got great players come and go all the time, and their numbers are not kept to the side. But Joe Burrow's was, and Jaden Daniels was. They were treated exactly the same, which is preferential treatment to everybody else I've seen come through. Glenn Dorsey left, and Alex Hurst wore his number the next year. And so he was treated the same. But then you had a unique circumstance where a player came in with a number tattooed on him that asked for it. It's not like they put Joe's jersey away forever and said, does anybody want 5 here? We're giving out 5. No, somebody came and asked for it. He could have just as easily asked for number 9. That is where this met the road. So for the Daniels camp to suggest that LSU is treating him differently than Joe Burrow is just patently incorrect. If someone's asked for 9 and they've said no, then please, someone bring that information to me. I don't believe that's happened. This was just a circumstance nobody foresaw, and that's where this thing changed. They were treated the same, which was different than every athlete I've seen around here, but ultimately they didn't feel that way, and that's just an incorrect way to go about things.
Hunt, we ran out of time, but we appreciate you coming on, talking LSU with us for our first campus check-in of the day. We'll talk again next week with you.
Sounds good. See y'all.
We're going to go ahead and take a timeout. When we come back, we'll wrap up hour number 1, giving you an update on the poll question of the day. That's next.
This is RP3 and Meche live on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station. ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles is the proud winner of 4 2026 LAB Prestige Awards, including Best Use of Digital Media, Foot's Friday Fury, Best Live On-Site Remote for our Super Bowl Radio Road coverage, Best Promotion for our No Shave November initiative, and Radio Young Professional of the Year for Dawson Iserloh. We're proud of being Southwest Louisiana's sports station and are humbled to be recognized by the Louisiana Association of Broadcasters.
And now time for the Expert Minute, brought to you by Sugarland Exterminating.
Ever wonder why bugs seem to love your home as much as you do? One big reason: moisture. Roaches, termites, and ants are drawn to damp areas. Check under sinks, around windows, and in attics for leaks and excess moisture. A little home maintenance goes a long way in keeping pests out. Got unwanted guests? Call Sugarland Exterminating at 337-367-1414 or visit sugarlandexterminating.com for more information.
Sugarland Exterminating. Pest-free environment we're creating. Spiders, roaches, rats, and mice. Those awful termites are not so nice. Get rid of all your pests right now. Call Sugarland Exterminating.
Termites, they're here. They're invasive. They can destroy your home if left untreated. Sugarland Exterminating has been in business for over 50 years, and they have the experience to effectively treat termites. Call 367-1414 or visit sugarlandexterminating.com.
And that has been your Expert Minute, brought to you by Sugarland Exterminating.
BB's Auto Sales has been serving Acadiana since 1966. Cleanest selection of pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs. Need financing? No problem. BB's offers easy financing for all credit types, including in-house financing. Plus, they're paying top dollar for your trade. Voted top 3 dealership in Community Choice Awards 2 years in a row. Visit BB's Auto Sales, 2 convenient locations off Johnston Street and in Abbeville. BB'sAutoSales.com. Cleanest cars in Acadiana.
We are the soldiers of the Louisiana Army National Guard. We are your neighbors. We are your sons and daughters. While we serve part-time, we are learning valuable life and job skills. We are earning money for college, for trade and technical schools, and for certifications. We are proud to serve both our country and our home state. We are your Louisiana Army National Guard.
Sponsored by the Louisiana Army National Guard. Aired by the Louisiana Association of Broadcasters and this station.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer at a beverage manufacturing plant, he starts his day knowing every line is ready to run because Grainger delivers the industrial-grade products he needs to keep mixers, conveyors, and packaging equipment moving. With Grainger's vast selection of bearings, belts, and motors, he keeps operations running smoothly, so nothing grinds to a halt. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You're listening to ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles. Your home for the best local sports talk in Southwest Louisiana.
Wrapping up hour number 1 of RP3 and Meche.
Are we?
Yeah, we are.
All right. If you say so.
I mean, we only got 3 minutes.
Can we spend 3 minutes talking about something?
Sure.
Okay. I know we have our poll question of the day. We'll get to those comments. We're going to do so in hour number 2.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And we will touch on the Astros as well. Muy, muy, pas bon performance by them.
Shout out Cam Smith.
We didn't have a chance to talk about this yesterday. The Lakers sell. Looks like it's a done deal, right? Well, Jeannie Buss says not so fast. So the other siblings that don't like their sister, because she has essentially kicked them out of controlling the Lakers, and she was pretty much handpicked by her late father to do so. They said, hey, we're selling our minority stake to the guys that are buying the majority stake, right? Bob Iger being one of them, former or current Disney CEO. But Jeannie Buss says, not so fast. And this is going to get ugly. Because she's going to fight this tooth and nail to remain part of that. And it feels like the way the contracts and legally, she has a case here, James, to prevent this minority stake being sold, because she's the one that runs it for the family. So her siblings are trying. This is like Succession brought to life just for a professional sports franchise.
I mean, this is I haven't been able to go too much into detail with this, but I mean, the fact that it's a continuously developing story and seeing that Jeannie's almost kind of like, I don't know if holding them hostage is necessarily the right way to describe it, but basically denying the siblings from trying to just get out of it after they feel like they've been screwed over. She's like, you're not screwing me over.
Well, she's contending that a court ruled in 2017 that no sale could be, quote, without approval by the co-trustees, Jeannie, Janie, and Joey, meaning it would need her approval. In a letter sent to the siblings on Monday, Jeannie's lawyer, Adam Streisand, demanded that the family make clear publicly that Jeannie Buss is the controlling owner of the Los Angeles Lakers and take no action on the supposed vote to sell the 17.8% stake. Good luck. This is going to be an absolute dogfight. This is going to get uglier. This isn't all of a sudden going to go away and we're going to forget about this.
This is going to be a continuously developing story, much like we've seen with the Clippers and Kawhi Leonard in that.
Correct.
And what's going on over there.
Correct. So the drama involving Los Angeles and their sports teams, in particular their NBA franchises, is not going away because Jeannie is going to fight this tooth and nail.
Oh, yeah.
Like tooth and nail.
I wonder how Thanksgiving is going to go.
They don't even speak, I don't think.
No, I know.
like it's gotten that contentious. Remember, she fired her brothers a couple of years ago. And she took care of that.
And now she's saying you don't have say in what you do with this franchise that you have part ownership of.
You have part ownership, but I'm the top dog, and I have to sign off on any sell. And they and they just thought they would come together and try to sell it without her permission.
She's like, that ain't how that working.
There are some law firms that are charging extra hours out in La La Land that are very happy right now. I'll just leave it at that. Hour one is in the books. Hour number two will be our second campus check-in. We'll kick things off. That's going to be with Jamarcus Fitzpatrick. That's next.
Around Acadiana, community means supporting the businesses that make our hometown special. That's why we're proud to spotlight local companies that are certified South Louisiana.
Delta Home Center and Delta Trailer Sales, your one-stop shop for utility and cargo trailers. Heavy-duty dump and gooseneck trailers, portable buildings, cabins, decks, porches, fences, carports, and site-built metal shops. Located at Exit 7 in Carencro or at deltatrailersales.com.
When you support local businesses, you strengthen the communities we call home. Shop local, support local. Certified South Louisiana.
Imagine a place where wellness, luxury, and community come together. Welcome to City Club at River Ranch, Acadiana's premier private club. Enjoy a state-of-the-art fitness center, exceptional tennis and pickleball programs, resort-style amenities, and a vibrant social atmosphere. Whether you're pursuing your fitness goals or expanding your social circle, City Club offers an unmatched member experience. Visit cityclubatriverranch.com today. City Club at River Ranch, where lifestyle meets distinction.
Sprained wrist, ankle twist, broken thumb can't make a fist, busted knee, surgery, that patch of ice you didn't see.
Where pain starts, Jernavix suzetrigine begins. Jernavix is a non-opioid 50 milligram prescription tablet for adults with moderate to severe acute pain that reduces pain signals before they reach the brain.
Tendon tear, nose repair, tripping on that broken stair, dislocation, operation, moped crash while on vacation.
Do not take Jernavix with CYP3A inhibitors. Avoid use with grapefruit or liver problems as these may increase side effects. Tell your doctor about all your medicines if you are pregnant or breastfeeding. Jernavix may make certain medicines and birth control less effective. Side effects include itching, muscle spasms, rash, and elevated muscle enzymes.
Joint displacement, knee replacement, fell on marbles in the basement, ladder slip, broken hip, that rock climb where you lost your grip.
To learn more about Jernavix, ask your doctor. Call 1-833-589-PAIN or visit jernavix.com.
Live from Upper Lafayette, this is ESPN 1037 KLWB Karen Crow Lafayette, KLCJ-FM Oak Grove Lake Charles 1041, a Delta Media station.
This game isn't fun. This game is a war.
It's time for the 2-minute drill.
Hurry it up, hurry it up, hurry it up!
Powered by B1 Bank. Visit B1Bank.com to find a location near you.
Come on, let's go, you guys. Get in here, we gotta go fast now.
The Houston Astros came up short last night to the Los Angeles Angels in a 3-1 loss at home. Houston's lone run of the game came on a Cam Smith homer to left field in the 8th inning. Game 2 of the series will be tonight, and the Astros will go with Ethan Pecco on the mound, who will be making his Major League debut. Pecco was recently called up from AAA Sugarland, where he had a 4.94 ERA through 70-plus innings of work. First pitch between LA and Houston is at 7:10 p.m. tonight, and you can listen to it on ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles. Around the AL West, the Royals beat the Athletics 4-3, the Rangers beat the Nationals 5-0, and the Brewers crushed the Mariners 22-0, which ties the record for the largest shutout in the modern baseball era and the worst loss in Mariners history. With those results, Houston still sits in first place with a 1-game lead over second-place Texas. With the news of Jordan Tyson expecting to miss a couple of months with a hamstring injury, the New Orleans Saints tried out veteran free agents Chase Claypool and Josh Reynolds yesterday afternoon. Reynolds spent last season with the Jets, where he hauled in 11 catches for 101 yards, while Claypool has not played an NFL game since 2023 with the Miami Dolphins. The New York Giants added some running back depth as they signed Najee Harris to a 1-year deal in the Big Apple. After 4 seasons in Pittsburgh, Harris spent last season in San Diego, where his time with the Chargers was cut short due to an Achilles tear that limited him to only 3 games in the Powder Blue. I'm Blake Purser, and you're listening to ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles, your home for the LSU Tigers and the Houston Astros.
The 2-minute drill has been powered by B1 Bank. Visit B1Bank.com to find a location near you. Dynamic duos are nothing new to Louisiana sports fans. Breeze and Colston, Burrow and Chase. And here in Acadiana, we have our very own dynamic duo.
You're beautiful.
It's the big, bald, bearded, and beautiful one, Raymond Parch III.
I'm sexy and I know it.
And the man with the best head of hair in sports talk radio in Louisiana and Mississippi, James Meche. Here is RP3 and Meche on ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
Hour number 2 has arrived here on RP3 and Meche. I am the big, bald, beautiful one, Raymond Parch III, better known as RP3, or as Mr. Bobby says, 2 out of 3. And joining me, as always, is the producer extraordinaire, the man with the best trash stash in sports media in the states of Louisiana and Mississippi, James Meche. We are broadcasting live from inside the Beal & Hebert studios here in Upper Lafayette. Beal & Hebert, Acadiana's hometown lawyers. Coming up half an hour from right now will be our third and final campus check-in of the day as we talk all things McNeese with Pokecast podcast host Jim Gazzolo. That'll be coming up half an hour from right now. In about 20 minutes from right now, we'll recap last night's stinky Astros loss and give you an update on the poll question of the day and get to some more of your comments there as well. But we're going to kick off hour number 2 with our second campus check-in of the day. It's time for us to, well, don't have to travel very far. Stay right here in our own backyard and talk Louisiana Raging Cajuns.
Here we go. Let's head around the state we call the Boot to find out what's happening at the collegiate athletic programs in Louisiana. This is Campus Check-In. Today, we check in with the Louisiana Ragin' Cajuns.
And we do so with our friend from KATC, the sports reporter, anchor extraordinaire himself, Jamarcus Fitzpatrick, joins us now. Jamarcus, good day to you, buddy. How are you?
What's going on, fellas? Just wrapping up a workout right now, man. So it's always good when I got a chance to hop on here with y'all.
This man is squeezing in interviews in between workouts. The man is just locked in. He's already in mid-season form, my guy. All right.
Oh, man, yeah.
Let's dive in here because we're getting closer and closer to the start of the season as they're going to open it up against the Lamar Cardinals. What has stood out to you so far about the Louisiana Ragin' Cajuns offense from the time that you've been able to spend at practice?
Well, to me, last week we had the first inter-squad scrimmage of fall camp where we got a chance to see the ones and twos and the threes. They went in 12-play racks at a time. And offensively, what was extremely clear is that Lunch Winfield is going to take what the defense gives him. He's not going to be trying to overextend himself. He's more so looking at one receiver, two receiver, check it down. There were a few plays where he kept the ball on his own. I think they had a QB sweep on like a 3rd and short, and he picked up the first down. But he threw checkdowns to Darrell Smith a lot. He threw bubble screens. And then he took calculated shots down the field. And I think that's what we're going to see a lot of coming up this season. Defensively, we could see that the guys were able to apply consistent pressure. The ones, the twos, and the threes, they have a deep rotation. Tito Shakire was one person that got to the quarterback multiple times. And I think because you have so much depth, not just at the jack position, but across the board, Louisiana has the opportunity to have a really good pass rush this upcoming season. So Lunch is going to go, this team goes as Lunch Winfield will go, like I've said before, and this pass rush has the opportunity to be really good.
Okay, let's stay with the offense. What is the one thing that you believe Lunch Winfield needs to do after last year's breakout season where he gave this offense a spark and created big-time plays? What's the one thing that he has to do to elevate his game to take it to that next level to help elevate this offense to that next level?
Well, it's mostly that. It's being able to take what the defense gives you. It's also, the best ability is availability. If he's able to stay healthy, obviously he had moments where he had to come out at different times, dealing with ankle sprains and all of those things like that, but staying on the field. And Coach Dez even talked about it a little bit in his media availability yesterday where he was like, sometimes it is check it down to a guy and take a hit off yourself. Obviously he wants to bring everybody along with him, and that's a very commendable, quarterback trait that you would like in your starter. But at the same time, if he is always the one that's trying to get it going and the defense is always teeing off on him, there's only so much that his body can physically take before eventually he's in a position where maybe he has to come out a drive or a couple plays or, a couple weeks, in behind him, you do have capable quarterbacks in Daniel Beal and Coleman Carter and Sam Altman. All of those guys look really strong in the scrimmage. Coach Dez even pointed to Daniel Beal kind of getting his mojo back, so to speak. And he really looked good, even running the football and connecting on passes. The accuracy, from what I can remember, was really high for the quarterbacks in that scrimmage. And if he is able to, like I said, continue to stay upright and stay healthy, the sky is going to be the limit for him.
There's immense potential there, but he has a wide receiving core that is beat up, right? Sampson is dealing with that injury. They lose Landon Strother to a collarbone injury. Lots of question marks there, right, with this wide receiving core. How confident are you that Lunch is going to be able to build up chemistry and rapport and timing with his wideouts with so many of them hurt?
Yeah, I mean, it can be a difficult task for sure, but what we have seen is other guys kind of step up and answer the call, Kadarius Wade, Raji Dennis, guys that have been on the roster for some time have been having a really good fall camp. They had a solid scrimmage as well. Russell Babineau being thrown into the mix as well. Trenton Chaney, who is still wearing a non-contact jersey, but practice scrimmage, all of those good things like that. It's a combination of multiple guys just being able to answer the call when their, number is tabbed. When you're able to go out and if it's 3rd and 5 and it's a slant route and you've got one-on-one, it's beat the guy in front of you and be able to make the catch and haul it in. And I think that they have a couple of guys in that receiver room, not to mention that you have, I feel like, is a special weapon in Ja'Cory Norris, who is, yes, the return specialist, but him moving to receiver has kind of been the perfect timing, so to speak, or the perfect storm with these early injuries that you have going on, because now, even if Sheldon Sampson is available for week 1, the main thing you're going to be concerned about now is the conditioning aspect of things. And, you don't want to be working with a tired receiver, because when you're tired, you can potentially open up opportunities for yourself to be re-injured, So having guys that can help him to be able to progressively work himself back into the lineup is going to be huge.
Where do we stand in your confidence level with this offensive line?
I think the offensive line is the strength of really what the offense could potentially be. You talk about guys that have returned. George Jackson, I did a story on him on KETC, and he's leaned down and, recovered from a Liz Frank injury, dropped 40 pounds. You got, Cooper Fordham there at the center position. You have Caden Morrow that's coming back, that's been a returning starter. Matt Broussard had a lot of good reps because of the injuries you had on the offensive line. Zay Alexander has been waiting for his opportunity. And you have a cohesive unit in those 5 that really look strong. But then behind them, you have guys that have ability as well. You think about a Jacoby Isom and, JaVale McGee Hudson, that's a freshman coming in that got some reps there in the 2 spot. Jason Mitchell, also there on the offensive line that transferred in. He's got kind of a guy that can play both guard and tackle. So you're looking at about, 8 to 9 guys, which is the number that Coach Des said that they're aiming for to begin with, that could really give you something up front that, that unit will be solid. And even if someone is down for a couple plays, a drive, or, even a game, that you have other guys behind them that have playing experience and can come in and be able to execute what you need.
We continue our Louisiana Raging Cajuns campus check-in with our guy, Jamarcus Fitzpatrick of KATC. Jamarcus, I want to look more towards the defensive side of the football now. Which one of these units gives you the most pause going into week 1?
I would honestly say that, it's the defensive line, not because I don't think that they can't be good, because I do believe that they have a lot of ability there, but it's guys there that are kind of unproven. I did a episode of Raging Rundown yesterday or the day before, where I talked about, a lot of the guys that they have up front have been kind of waiting for their opportunities. You think about Fitzgerald West and Maxie Bodwin, they were in the mix. They got sacks for you last year, but a vast majority of the people that got sacks for your defense last season aren't with the program anymore. And so guys like Lance Williams and Priest Ash and, Broderick Stewart that's transferred in, and Ashley Williams, guys like that had a few snaps, so to speak, last season, now have the opportunity that it's their time. They run out as the 1s and 2s that can go out and make plays on Saturdays. And now it's about for them being able to, as Coach Salgado said, blow stuff up, BSU, and also be able to finish and get to the quarterback.
When it comes to the coverages that this defense runs, it's predominantly been man from everything that I've seen. Is that going to continue to be the case with Coach Salgado's group, or could you see a little bit more zone mixed in?
I think it could be a combination of both. One thing, which I'll probably be dropping another Raging Rundown episode either today or tomorrow, talking about Brenton Gordon Jr. and how versatile he is there in the secondary. During the spring and also in the last scrimmage they had, he was cross-training as both a boundary corner, which is there on the outside, and then also the slot corner or the nickel guy or the star position in the Cajuns defense. Him and Marion Ilium have both been guys that have been cross-training at that position. And when I asked Coach Desimo about it, he said that, he's a veteran. He's a guy that it takes a lot of maturity to be able to play multiple positions in the secondary, because that just means he understands how the defense works as a whole. And so because they have that, I think you'll see a combination of both. You have some experience on the back end with Cody Jackson and Colin Jacobs. Stephen Rennell was a guy that rotated in. Lake Bates was also a guy that got experience because of injuries and things of that nature last season. And then you talk about on the opposite side at corner, Kevin Malone and Jeremiah Moses and Avery Demery. Those have all been guys that have gotten the opportunity now to be the main corners, the guys that run out first. And now it's just going to be about having a high level of confidence, having a one play at a time mentality. If you get an interception on one play, don't let you get too high. If you give up a touchdown on a play, don't allow it to let you get too low. So that room in particular, because of some of the versatility they have with Brent and Mariam, I think that they have an opportunity to not just play press man all the time, but also that they can mix it up and disguise some coverages to make it difficult for opposing offenses.
I remember back on Friday when Jarrett filled in for Dawson on his show, he had you on and you actually ended up breaking the news in the middle of the conversation with Landon Strother having to have surgery. Was there any further update that you got after you got off air?
Just that, he would be out 4 to 6 weeks,
okay.
That it was a partial fracture there in his collarbone, and then Coach Dez confirmed it also, in his availability yesterday. So it's a tough break for, a guy that was going to obviously be a huge part of your offense early in these first couple of weeks of the season. With camp about to wrap and school starting next week, you don't want to rush him back because you do have guys that have ability. So you don't feel like it's a hit the panic button type of scenario in your receiver room. But also you want him to be healthy. That way, if he comes back, he's able to get healthy and then play the remainder of the season rather than rushing back and potentially re-injuring or worsening the injury that he already had.
Man, how about thinking that there was some big-time votes for the Louisiana Raging Cajuns only to find out that it was a different UL, one that doesn't usually go by UL in Louisville. That I was like, oh, okay, sick. That's cool.
Yeah, man, that was something. I obviously, saw that the AP poll had been released, and, because as we know, covering in South Louisiana, we cover the Cajuns and also LSU.
Mm-hmm.
So I look at it and I'm like, okay, LSU's at 11. And then I think it was an article that I saw on Crescent City Sports that said, LSU at 11, Tulane and Louisiana receiving votes. And so I said, oh, okay. So I pulled up the poll and I saw that UL, sure enough, had gotten 4 votes, one more than what James Madison had with 3. So I'm like, wow, national media is really giving these guys a ton of respect. And so, that comes out Monday. We have availability on Tuesday. So the last question asked by me is, hey, Coach, what did you think about the AP poll? And he gave a great answer, saying that we're not a top 25 team yet. We have, a lot of work to do. It's not about how you start, it's how you finish. Great answer.
Yeah.
As soon as he gets up, Jay Walker walks over to me and says, hey, just to let you know, those votes were actually meant for Louisville, who goes by ULL. And I go and I check, and sure enough, it was an error. What an error,
Yeah.
But, like we talked about, and I did an episode on that, a podcast episode on that it brings about the question, what is it that would actually take for Louisiana to be ranked in the top 25? And, I went down the list of things, and I think it's going to be important that they can go out and just spot the ball down and beat whoever is in front of them. That's what is going to be important to do.
And that's something to definitely look at later on once we really get into the season. But of course, it sparked the natural debate and just pissing contests back and forth all online between Cajuns and LSU fans and others being of the UL or calling them ULL or whatever you want to call them. I was like,
right.
Of course, this spawns it. And I blame Louisville. It's like they go by Louisville. Why are we calling them U of L?
Right. I mean, it is what it is, man. I tried to never get into that. Like when I was, working in Alexandria, I called them ULL while I was outside of the market. The minute I got here, the first thing that I was told by Seth Lewis, shout out to him, was you do not refer to this team as ULL. It is UL, Louisiana, or the Raging Cajuns. And that's what I've called them. So, to quote Coming to America, if they want to call themselves Louisiana, I'm going to call them Louisiana. Like, that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to argue with the branding or anything like that. I'm not going to get into a back and forth. That's what it is. If they are UL, that's what they will be. I've rarely heard Louisville be called U of L, except maybe, in that market itself. Just a huge error by, the AP and all of those things like that for that to happen. And it is what it is. Louisiana has the opportunity to spot the ball and potentially make it to where they actually aren't just receiving votes, but they crack and get into the top 25 themselves.
That's a pro's pro answer, and that's why you're the best, Jamarcus. We appreciate you coming on. We'll get you on next week, and we'll let you go so that way you can finish your workout.
Appreciate y'all guys, man.
We're going to go ahead and take a timeout. There goes our guy, Jamarcus Fitzpatrick of KATC. We'll take a timeout now. When we come back, a little bit of open up phone lines, but we'll mainly talk Houston Astros as they lost to the Angels last night in Game 1. Game 2 will be tonight, but we'll talk about that after this. You're listening to ESPN, Southwest Louisiana Sports Station.
This is RP3 and Meche live on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station. From Tiger Stadium to the Texas state line, ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles is your home for live and local sports talk in Southwest Louisiana. We're your official home for the LSU Tigers and Houston Astros. ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles also tackles the latest involving the Louisiana Raging Cajuns, McNeese Cowboys, and New Orleans Saints. So keep it locked right here. ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
Before hitting the road, get hooked up at Match Trailers on Bertrand Drive. Everything you need from truck equipment, accessories, and trailer parts, Match Trailers has it. Match Trailers, 1849 Bertrand Drive in Lafayette, or give Matt a call at 235-7534.
Looking for a great midweek treat? Come to Mezcal Mexican Restaurant every Wednesday and Thursday and enjoy their sizzling fajita special. $13.99 plus tax all day long. Don't forget all day 2-for-1 margaritas. Are you planning a large party? Let Mezcal handle it. Call 337-484-3298 and Mezcal will take care of everything. That's a fajita special, $13.99 plus tax all day Wednesday and Thursday at Mezcal Mexican Restaurant, 3546 Ambassador Caffrey, next to Rooms to Go. Come taste the flavor of Mezcal.
Need peace of mind with your estate planning? Turn to Bill and Hebert, your trusted Acadiana hometown lawyers. At Bill and Hebert, we make estate planning simple and stress-free, ensuring your legacy is secure and your future is in the right hands. Don't wait. Schedule your consultation today at BillHebert.com. That's BillHebert.com. Safeguarding your tomorrow today.
Imagine building your dream backyard pool without ever leaving your couch. With Duplessis Builders, you can go shop our in-ground gunite pool packages online, start to finish. Browse our pool designs, compare features, see exactly what's included, and choose the package that fits your style and budget. Once you purchase, our team takes over. From permit and excavation to gunite decking and final startup, you click, we build, you swim. Your backyard upgrade is just a few clicks away. Visit DuplessisBuilders.net and buy your pool online today.
Delta Home Center and Delta Trailer Sales, your one-stop shop for utility and cargo trailers. Heavy-duty dump and gooseneck trailers, portable buildings, cabins, decks, porches, fences, carports, and site-built metal shops. Located at Exit 7 in Carencro or at deltatrailersales.com.
Leon was about to leave the military.
My biggest concern was, what am I going to do next?
He found out about My Computer Career and their military transition program.
The Cyber Warrior program takes you from not knowing anything about a computer at all to being a subject matter expert.
How long is that going to take?
In the span of 4 months, I was able to get 4 different certifications.
4 months? Leon's advice?
Highly recommended.
Become a certified cyber warrior in just months at mycomputercareer.edu. This is one student's experience. Individual results vary. VA education benefits available to those who qualify.
One is known far and wide for his luscious head of hair.
We just wash the hair. You know, I work on my hair a long time.
The other wishes he still had his. Back to more RP3 and Meche.
Oh, the Houston Astros, they attempted to play a game last night. They didn't play it well, if that's what you're asking. They've been on the struggle bus really ever since the trade deadline. And you're just waiting for them to kind of get past these dog days of August when it comes to baseball. They're not the only team that's been struggling. My Atlanta Braves have been struggling as well. Lost yesterday to the Twins, 4-1. Gross. But a 3-1 loss to the Halos is not good. You wanted to start off this series on the right foot. You didn't. And I just have some thoughts here. Let's talk about the pitching. Christian Javier was not awful. Threw 87 pitches, struck out 5, only gave up 2 earned runs on 5 hits, but he only lasted 4 innings. And the ERA is still barely under 6.5. That's not good. That's not good. King came in relief, gave up an earned run as well. I said it heading into the trade deadline, and I'll say it again. I don't think they have enough starting pitching. And Dana Brown kept banking on guys coming off of injuries, severe injuries that made them miss months, and banking on those guys to be healthy enough to help this rotation. They do not have a legitimate starting rotation in Major League Baseball right now. They don't. They do not have a legitimate Major League Baseball rotation.
Especially after trading not only prospects from the farm system, but also trading away guys like an actual member of the starting rotation in Spencer Arrighetti. Like, you would have thought, okay, they would have really put an extra emphasis on trying to go get some real quality starters. Yet they didn't do so. It felt like they made it weaker after the trade deadline.
They are now 63-63, back down to 500. They're 5-8 since the trade deadline. They managed just 3 hits last night. The lineup has been putrid. Jeremy Pena is now well below 300 batting. Alvarez went 0 for 4 last night as well. He's kind of cooled off a little bit here. And Cam Smith still is playing well, right? He gave you a home run last night. That's your only run production. That's one of your 3 hits was a solo shot by Cam Smith. And this team just isn't good. And I've told Kevin that. Like, they're right now playing like a bad baseball team. And the results show that because they are a bad baseball team. And one of the guys they did pick up was Dalton Varsho, who they've been putting in the 4 or the 5 hole since he became a member of the Houston Astros. He's 6 for 47, by the way. 6 for 47. That was one of your big trade pieces, is a guy that's gone 6 for 47. So the lineup doesn't get enough hits, and the starting rotation is not a legitimate Major League Baseball starting rotation. And yet, in spite of all that, as it stands right now on Wednesday, August the 19th, and you look at the standings in Major League Baseball, the 63-63 Houston Astros are still a game up on the Texas Rangers. Because just as bad as the Stros have been since the trade deadline, the Rangers are equally as bad, and the Mariners are even worse.
And I know it hasn't looked great for the Astros as of late, but it's really good the fact that in that 1 week when they played the Angels on the road and then played the Rangers at home that weekend, they swept both. That kind of gave them the little bit of insurance that they have right now. Because it's interesting. I remember hearing Kevin earlier, and I know he's not result-oriented by any stretch of the imagination, but it is interesting to see. Before last night's game, even with the quote-unquote struggles against the Angels that they've had this season, where he says that the Angels have had the Astros number.
They have.
Before last night's loss, they had a 6-4 record versus Los Angeles.
Yeah, but they've played them extremely well. They've kind of had their number. Look, if you're supposed to be the best team in the division, you shouldn't be losing to a team that's below 500. Now, it's baseball, and these things happen because it's baseball. But the American League, just all together, is a mess. Like, it's an absolute mess. The Rays are leading the East. They have a five-game cushion on the Yankees, who are still hopeful Aaron Judge will come back and be Aaron Judge. I think that's wishful thinking. The Red Sox have started to cool off. Remember, they were the hottest team in baseball. They're still in the mix for a wild card. The White Sox have a 4-game lead in the Central. But look at teams above 500. The top 3 teams in the East are. Only one team in the Central is. That's the White Sox. No teams are above 500 in the West. You have 4 teams above 500 on August the 19th in the American League. Gross. That's just a lot of bad, mediocre baseball. And it just so happens to be in the American League this year. National League is a different beast.
Got 9 of them above 500.
Correct. So the senior circuit is obviously the better league this year. And look, the Stros still have the opportunity to win the division, which means if they win the division, they're going to host a playoff series. They'll be the home team to start off a playoff series. Now, they'll have to play in the wild card round more than likely, but I don't know, man. It is, you thought they had it figured out, and then all of a sudden they don't. Once again, dog days of summer. Got to take a time out. When we come back, how about we talk all things McNeese Cowboys with our buddy Jim Gozzolo of the Pokecast podcast? That's next.
This is RP3 and Meche live on ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
If you're needing to get yourself a new rifle or shotgun for hunting season, or maybe picking up a new handgun to protect your home and your family, or you're just running low on ammo, go see my friends over at Louisiana Gun Shop, located at 2927 Highway 90 East in Broussard today. They're open Monday through Friday, 9:30 a.m. until 6 o'clock in the evening, and they have a tremendous selection of both new or used handguns, rifles, shotguns, ammo, suppressors, and even apparel. And they pride themselves on spending their money locally because they're a small business themselves. That's why they've teamed up with a local finance company that's currently offering 0 down and same as cash for 1 year. That's right. If you're a little short on cash, you can finance your guns, ammo, and even suppressors. Go see my friends at Louisiana Gun Shop, located at 2927 Highway 90 East in Broussard today, and tell them RP3 sent you.
This game isn't fun. This game is a war.
It's time for the 2-minute drill.
Hurry it up, hurry it up, hurry it up.
Powered by B1 Bank. Visit B1Bank.com to find a location near you.
Come on, let's go, you guys. Get in here, we gotta go fast now.
The Houston Astros came up short last night to the Los Angeles Angels in a 3-1 loss at home. Houston's lone run of the game came on a Cam Smith homer to left field in the 8th inning. Game 2 of the series will be tonight, and the Astros will go with Ethan Pecco on the mound, who will be making his Major League debut. Pecco was recently called up from AAA Sugarland, where he had a 4.94 ERA through 70-plus innings of work. First pitch between LA and Houston is at 7:10 p.m. tonight, and you can listen to it on ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles. Around the AL West, the Royals beat the Athletics 4-3, the Rangers beat the Nationals 5-0, and the Brewers crushed the Mariners 22-0, which ties the record for the largest shutout in the modern baseball era and the worst loss in Mariners history. With those results, Houston still sits in first place with a 1-game lead over second-place Texas. With the news of Jordan Tyson expecting to miss a couple of months with a hamstring injury, the New Orleans Saints tried out veteran free agents Chase Claypool and Josh Reynolds yesterday afternoon. Reynolds spent last season with the Jets, where he hauled in 11 catches for 101 yards, while Claypool has not played an NFL game since 2023 with the Miami Dolphins. The New York Giants added some running back depth as they signed Najee Harris to a 1-year deal in the Big Apple. After 4 seasons in Pittsburgh, Harris spent last season in San Diego, where his time with the Chargers was cut short due to an Achilles tear that limited him to only 3 games in the Powder Blue. I'm Blake Persher, and you're listening to ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles, your home for the LSU Tigers and the Houston Astros.
The 2-minute drill has been powered by B1 Bank. Visit B1Bank.com to find a location near you. Do you need more of the fellas here on Southwest Louisiana's sports station? Of course you do. So go make sure and subscribe to ESPN 1037 Lafayette and 1041 Lake Charles YouTube channel at ESPN_SWLA. Don't forget to turn that bell on so you get notifications for new episodes of Fort Tire Change Podcast, where Dawson Iserloh talks all things NASCAR, or Cleats and Sneaks with James Meche. Get yourself more of Southwest Louisiana's sports station at ESPN_SWLA on YouTube. ESPN 1037 KLWB FM and 1041 KLCJ FM are properties of Delta Media Corporation, Southwest Louisiana's only locally owned and operated premier multimedia company with radio, television, and digital properties. ESPN 1037 and 1041 often conducts promotional contests on the air and on our digital platforms to include ESPN SouthwestLouisiana.com and the ESPN Text Club. In order to participate in any contest promotion, you must be at least 18 years of age and reside within the broadcast coverage area of ESPN. Only one winner per household per 30 days. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited. Winners agree to pay any taxes or fees related to a prize as noted in contest rules. Winners also agree that ESPN Southwest Louisiana has permission to use their name, likeness, portrait, recorded voice, or other biographical material to promote the station and participating sponsors. Employees, family members, and sponsors of ESPN Southwest Louisiana and Delta Media are not eligible to participate in any promotional contest. A complete list of rules can be found online at ESPNSouthwestLouisiana.com or available to view at the main offices of Delta Media Corporation during operating business hours, located at 3501 Northwest Evangeline Thruway, Carencro.
It's hurricane season, and Mid-South Power Solutions wants you and your family to be prepared. Protect your home from sudden power outages with a Generac automatic standby generator, the industry leader. Installed by the experts at Mid-South Power Solutions, the Generac automatic standby generator will start up during power failures, keeping your home powered until the local utility restores service. Remember, installing a standby generator is not a do-it-yourself project. Mid-South Power Solutions factory-trained technicians meet the highest standards. Don't get caught in the dark. Visit Mid-South Power Solutions in Crowley or at midsouthpowersolutions.com. Mid-South Power Solutions. Your power, our priority.
One afternoon, one ticket, and 1,000 of your closest friends. Golf Brew returns to downtown Lafayette Saturday, September 19th from 3 until 7 p.m. Explore over 200 craft beer selections. Enjoy live music, delicious food, local vendors, and discover everything downtown has to offer. There's even family fun with the Little Brewers area and a designated driver experience for everyone to enjoy safely. Tickets are on sale now at downtownlafayette.org. Come for Golf Brew, stay for downtown.
This is the story of the one who keeps multiple buildings running smoothly day after day. Plumbing that flows, HVAC that hums, cleaning supplies that keep surfaces sparkling. That's why she counts on Grainger. With easy reordering online and 24/7 support, Grainger helps her keep the products she needs on hand. So shelves stay stocked and buildings stay ready. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Here we go. Let's head around the state we call the Boot to find out what's happening at the collegiate athletic programs in Louisiana. This is Campus Check-In. Today, we check in with the McNeese Cowboys.
And we do so with the man who hosts the Pokecast podcast. He is a guru when it comes to all things McNeese athletics. Our good friend, Jim Cozzolo, the great one, joins us. Jim, good day. Your White Sox are in first place, and it's August 19th. Congratulations, my friend.
Thank you, Raymond. It is extremely exciting to have that happening. How you doing, Raymond?
How's it going, buddy?
All right.
All right, there we go.
Maybe
Last week you said that when you come on with energy like you did, I bring it down. So I had to keep the tradition going.
Thank you. What do you think about that, James? Do you think he did a good job?
I think he could have had even less energy.
Ooh, there you go. You've been challenged.
Oh, I could do that. Believe me.
Oh, I know you can. I know you can.
There's been a few sporting events where I've been with you at that I know that for a fact to be be true. Now, did they warrant that type of energy? Yes, they did. All right,
they did.
Let's talk about this football team ramping up. The season begins next week. I say opening week. I refuse to say week 0 because that's stupid. But they're going to be opening up the season next week.
Thank you for that, by the way.
Yeah, it's so dumb. It's so dumb. Just give me your thought. Just tell us what the vibes are right now. Well, what's the thought process about this team heading into their season opener next week, and they have to do so against an old rival and a conference opponent to boot?
Yeah, I think there's a cautious, exciting optimism. because they look different. Like I say, they look different getting off the bus. They look bigger, stronger, faster, more depth. They seem to be in step with each other. They look the part. Last week's final preseason scrimmage, they looked better, much better on offense, especially with the passing game looked better, which is extremely important. Curtis DeVille looked really good the last week and a half of camp. I think he's caught just about everything and looks healthy, and that is a big need to get somebody that can consistently go to catch the football. So I think those things look good. Now, again, you're only playing yourself, so you don't know. But I think the progress is there, and there's hope that maybe they've turned the corner.
Overall vibes are good. We knew it wasn't going to happen overnight, right? Matt Viator had to come in, establish his culture, establish the way that he wanted things to be done, and that rarely ever gets turned around quickly in year one. But we did see them build momentum at the back end of last season. How confident are we based on the schedule that they have in front of them, which they have some difficult games on there, that they can start this season even stronger to put themselves in a position to have a winning record at the end of the year?
Well, that's the thing is, again, it's front-loaded. Their schedule, just like last year, is front-loaded. And that is the difficult thing that's going to be interesting to see how they come out of the gate, because this is a really, I think, a good time to take on SFA. They have a new quarterback. They have a new offensive coordinator. They're in a particular position of adjustment, too. So I think that you get them at home. It's interesting. The SFA head coach actually said he thought this was for the conference championship the first week, which I thought was a really odd statement based on everything else in the conference. But who knows? But I think it would be a huge game for them to get, because you really get things jived going there with a victory against the defending conference champs.
Let's talk about this team's offense. What does Matt Viator want to do that they weren't able to do last year, Jim?
Not turn the ball over, not throw interceptions, continue to move the chains, which I don't think they did consistently. They led the league in rushing, and they had a lot of big running plays, and a lot of them were from quarterback Jake Strong. The thing is, though, I think he wants to control the tempo more. He wants to be able to, like I said, move the chains, but get those first downs, keep his defense fresh and off the field, keep churning the offense like it did the second half of last year when it could control the tempo of the game and not count on 3rd and 9s, 3rd and 8s to convert, because that's where they made their mistakes.
Will they be able to run the football effectively with the backs that they have on the roster?
Well, you got to keep them healthy, which hasn't been the thing they've done. But, yeah, Trevante Citizen had a 90-yard run the other day. He looked better. Wiggins, the kid from Louisiana Tech, has been really impressive in camp. I think he's got a chip on his shoulder with something to prove. So that's interesting. I think the offensive line, which did a good job rushing in the rushing game last year, I think it's a little deeper. I think it'll stay a little more healthy. I think it can push the pile. Can it block in the quarterbacks? We haven't seen that much yet. But, yeah, I think they'll be able to run the football. Do they have a corresponding passing game for it is going to be the question.
When you say corresponding passing game, what are we talking about here? Like, what is the thing that Viator wants to see out of the passing game? He wants to run the football, wants to run it effectively. I would say probably around 200 yards a game is what he wants to look at on the ground. Maybe 185 to 200 is probably the sweet spot there. If you're doing that, you're eating up clock, you're limiting possessions. That doesn't mean that you're going to have 400-yard passers. So what are we looking at here from the passing game? It being complementary, like getting maybe around 200 yards passing a game and maybe have a touchdown on there and just not commit any turnovers? Is that what we're looking at?
Well, the thing is, when you look at last year in Jake Strong's games, he threw really for a lot of yards early in the season, but they were always behind. So I think the first thing he said coming out of the gate was we have to be more balanced offensively. We have to have an offense that can throw the football as well to keep the running game going and also not to turn the ball over. Those two things are I think, the most important for them. Make sure you're not putting yourselves in a situation where you're 3rd and 11, 3rd and 15. You're not going to pick those up. I don't think this team is going to consistently pick that up. But if you're 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3, we have the pass option, I think you're in good shape. Now, that's for every team, obviously, in the world wants that. But I think it's important for them because then they keep the strong running game as a possibility. They keeps all their options open. This is not a team that can sit back and I think chuck it 40 times a game and win consistently. They have to be around. I think you're pretty good. 175, 185 on the ground, maybe 195 in the air, and finish off drives. Make sure you get points. Too many drives last year didn't finish. I think they have to finish in the red zone better.
We're talking with Mr. McNeese, Jim Gazzolo, over there in Lake Charles.
I did change my name, by the way. I did change my name.
Oh, you changed your name? That's good. That's good.
To
Do you
Mr.
like Mr. McNeese? I know there's been a couple of times that these nicknames just haven't been able to go through.
Yes.
You like Mr. McNeese? All right, cool. I like it.
Sure, I'll get a Mr. Met hat and just put a cowboy on it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm glad we are all on the same page for that. All right. Now that we're just a little over a week from the first game against Stephen F. Austin, how much of this team would you say is figured out, whether you're looking at the pecking order of the depth chart or how this offense and defense is going to run? Like, how much of this team do you think is figured out just over a week away from this first game?
I think it's pretty set. I don't know about the actual starting lineup on a play-by-play basis, but I think the packages are in place. We know who's going to be running certain packages. We know who's going to be in certain defensive packages. I think those players are figured out. Is it person by person yet? No. But I think they're pretty secure on what they're going to attempt to do, and the two deep is pretty much settled by now. Maybe a chink in the armor here or there, depending on somebody who's been banged up a little bit, but they've stayed pretty healthy in this. So I think we're set on the starting lineup and the packages for the most part. Now, can something happen immediately? Yeah, but I think this football team knows what it wants to do. Now it has to go out and do it.
I was going to say, how much of this team do you think still needs to figure out who's going to be a part of the starting lineups?
Not very little. I think the big question is who can now produce. So many guys that are newcomers have been on tape and have had experience. Can they work within this system is what you got to see. What we have seen, though, is a pretty stable group going in and out of practices as far as the first and second teams going. So there's not a lot of interchangeable playing from beyond that. There seems to be a group of young players that are going to develop, and then there's going to be the core that they're going to play. Now, can that change? Obviously, as the young players get more reps in that, yeah. But I think what we're going to see pretty standardized, and I looked, it looks very familiar from last year. There's a lot of experience on this team, too. You know, first time we've had a quarterback back since Cody Orgeron, so it's been a while that we've had any continuity there.
Well, what I find so interesting is when I'm looking at McNeese's website and looking at this team, a lot of what I've seen is seniors and fifth-year guys. So the experience to me gives me more optimism compared to in years past where it's like, all right, well, look, this is in the Southland, this is for the FCS, but at the same time, when you have this many guys that have played this much college football as they have, like I definitely feel more confident than in years past.
Yeah, I think that's part of it. I think that also being in a lot of them in the second year in this system is important.
Yeah.
Even the ones that came here, they were here in January, so they've gone through the whole thing now. I think those guys, and those are the guys they're going to count on, especially early, those are set. And I think that's the key. Now, will random guys come in? Yeah. But those are set to get the start and the first look, and they've had experience. They went through last year for the most part, And because of that, they know what works and what didn't work. So all off season, they worked on what didn't work to get better, but they know what they can count on. And I think that's going to be very important in experiences. They know what they can accomplish with the last half of the last year.
I know Jake had to scramble a lot, and that's where a lot of the offensive production came from, especially from the quarterback position. Is there going to be a lot of involvement with him, whether it's scrambling or design quarterback runs, or have they tried to kind of coach that away from him and be like, I need you to be more of a distributor and we'll let the running be with the running backs?
I think they want him not to run the football as much.
Okay.
But I think that they'll accept it in certain situations and third downs on the scrambles. But I don't think they want to put him in the position. Because remember, at the end of last year, he was banged up and he got hurt and didn't play the last game. I think they know they want to keep him fresh. I think when you see Devin Leppold come into the game, that is more likely to be your called running quarterback plays. So I think most of his will, again, come off the scramble.
And what I do find so interesting is, even looking at last year, like Jake at times kind of reminded me the way he ran was like Cam Newton. And then it feels like the way you describe Lippold is he's kind of like this team's Taysom Hill in a sense.
Yeah, without question. And he can pick up the tough inside yards, and he can throw a couple of plays off of it. I think Jake's had the better camp, especially throwing the football. So we'll see how much Lippold actually gets in. But I think there will be set plays for him that will definitely be more of the running plays and the running options.
I'm expecting I will probably ask you about Lippold in the future, whether it's for good or for bad, but we'll have to see as we get into the season. Jim, we appreciate you coming on, Mr. McNeese. We'll get you back on next week as we get ready for this Week 1 matchup versus SFA.
Yeah, and we're just kind of waiting for the first time you come down here and get the food out for you.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see when that is. We appreciate it, Jim.
All right, we'll see you.
We're going to go ahead and take a timeout. When we come back, we'll wrap up this edition of RP3 Mesh right after this.
This is RP3 and Mesh live on ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station. ESPN 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles is the proud winner of 4 2026 LAB Prestige Awards, including Best Use of Digital Media, Foot's Friday Fury, Best Live On-Site Remote for our Super Bowl Radio Road coverage, Best Promotion for our No Shave November initiative, and Radio Young Professional of the Year for Dawson Iserloh. We're proud of being Southwest Louisiana's sports station and are humbled to be recognized by the Louisiana Association of Broadcasters.
Did you know you can get great tasting Clear Springs artesian water delivered to your office or your doorstep at home? Clear Springs is 100% local with their own bottling facility at the world-famous Kentwood Aquifer, no chemicals added. Just pure Kentwood, Louisiana artesian water. Clear Springs Water offers delivery of 5 or 3 gallon water service with a hot and cold temperature water cooler or even single-serve bottles delivered to your home or office. Easy to reach, clearsprings.net, then Contact Us tab or 337-519-3563.
Looking for a spotless workplace? Variety Janitorial Services is your go-to. For office cleaning to stripping and floor waxing and carpet cleaning, your commercial space will look its best. Their reputation for perfection has grown throughout the entire Acadiana community. They deliver top-notch service with a commitment to excellence. Daily, weekly, or deep cleaning, trust the experts. Visit varietyjan.com today or call 337-298-8704 for a free quote. Variety Janitorial Services. We clean, you shine.
ESPN 103.7 KLWB FM and 104.1 KLCJ FM are properties of Delta Media Corporation, Southwest Louisiana's only locally owned and operated premier multimedia company with radio, television, and digital properties. ESPN 103.7 and 104.1 often conducts promotional contests on the air and on our digital platforms to include ESPN SouthwestLouisiana.com and the ESPN Text Club. In order to participate in any contest promotion, you must be at least 18 years of age and reside within the broadcast coverage area of ESPN. Only one winner per household per 30 days. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited. Winners agree to pay any taxes or fees fees related to a prize as noted in contest rules. Winners also agree that ESPN Southwest Louisiana has permission to use their name, likeness, portrait, recorded voice, or other biographical material to promote the station and participating sponsors. Employees, family members, and sponsors of ESPN Southwest Louisiana and Delta Media are not eligible to participate in any promotional contest. A complete list of rules can be found online at espnsouthwestlouisiana.com or available to view at the main offices of Delta Media Corporation during operating business hours, located at 3501 Northwest Evangeline Thruway, Carencro.
Sound familiar? At Mattress Firm, we understand there are many problems that can keep you up at night, like snoring, aches and pains, or sleeping hot. Our sleep experts have the unrivaled know-how to match you with a mattress that can help. And now at Mattress Firm, save up to $700, plus get a free adjustable base with select Sealy Posturepedic mattresses. For the great sleep you deserve, visit Mattress Firm. We make sleep easy. Restrictions apply. See store or website for details.
You're listening to the 2026 LAB Award winner for Best Live On-Site Remote Super Bowl Radio Row coverage and Best Promotion for our No Shave November initiative here on 103.7 Lafayette and 104.1 Lake Charles, Southwest Louisiana's sports station.
Oh, man. Let's take a moment to thank our guests. They were amazing today for Campus Check-In Wednesday. Hunt Palmer of LouisianaSports.net talking LSU. Jamarcus Fitzpatrick of KATC talking Louisiana Raging Cajuns. And Jim Gazzolo of the Pokecast podcast talking all things McNeese. Give us a quick update on the poll question of the day, Mr. Meche.
Absolutely. How do you feel about fights during NFL preseason games and practices? Do you love the intensity? Do you think it's just part of football? Do you think it needs to stop? Or does it depend on the situation? Still, 37% of the votes are going where you are, Ray, and pretty much me, saying that it's just part of football.
That's what it feels like.
Because I'm somewhere in between saying that it's just part of football and saying that I love the intensity because I think it's great. I love that you're showing attitude and showing that you have a backbone.
If you're like, as long as it doesn't go crazy, right?
And it's consistent.
And as a coach, you want your guys to have that fire in their belly. Now, you're going to figure out how to control that fire, right? But you'd rather have your guys be amped up than them being passive. Nothing is worse than a passive player for a coach. Just a reminder that the Saints are a walking mass unit right now. Updated list of players that have been injured in training camp and preseason so far. Cam Jordan dealing with a hamstring injury. I had missed Quincy Riley being out and dealing with a groin injury. Not good. Not good. That's your number 2 corner, by the way. Brian Brzee tore an ACL, out for the year. Dylan Radins, your versatile offensive lineman, tore his ACL, out for the year. Jordan Tyson has the hamstring injury, going to miss 2 months. Devin Neal has a hamstring injury, by the way. That's going to be supposed to be your number 3 running back. Alvin Kamara has an MCL injury. He's going to miss at least a month. And then Christian Miller has a shoulder injury. That is all types of grossness. That's a lot of cats. I didn't even know about Quincy Riley.
Yeah, he kind of got lost in the shuffle with them talking highly about the Saints offense and the fights, and also Kamara missing about a month, if not more. So, yeah, it felt like amongst all the competition of news that happened at the practice yesterday, Quincy seemed to have been a little bit more on the back burners.
Absolutely phenomenal job of being injured that they've done so far. And some of you could argue, hey, if you're that injury prone, maybe you shouldn't be getting involved in fisticuffs at training camp practice. That's fair. That's fair. Keep voting on the poll question of the day. Keep leaving your comments on Facebook, X, and on our YouTube channel, ESPN Southwest Louisiana. We'll be back on the airwaves tomorrow, 11 to 1. But until then, be safe out there. Be kind to one another. The illustrious one, the son of Iceman, 2 degrees, and the new fearless leader of ESPN 103.7 Lafayette, 104.1 Lake Charles, Dawson Iserloh, is next.
The heart of Acadiana is its local businesses, the people, families, and companies that help our communities thrive. Here's a message from a proud certified South Louisiana business.
Candyland Cottage is the place to satisfy all your cravings. Find delicious ice creams, fresh fudges, truffles, hot dogs, sausage po' boys, Frito pies, and homemade shakes. Visit us in Scott and Rain for a sweet treat. Plan your next birthday party or field trip at Candyland Cottage.
Shop local, support local. Certified South Louisiana.
It's 9 a.m. You just received a voicemail from your boss.
Hey, Janet. Heads up. We got an important meeting coming up Thursday. The big guys are coming into town, so I need you in charge of lunch, and we've got to look good.
Luckily for Janet, she knows a place, and she knows her boss will be impressed.
Honey Baked Ham can cater your next event. Delicious and freshly sliced deli trays, box lunches with sandwich, chips, and dessert. Or try our fresh